Is there really an STI that causes the nose to fall off? Interesting. The STD that can cause your nose to fall off. Can you really live without these two organs? And what the heck are goosebumps good for anyway? Today we're unraveling the wildest, most thought-provoking, maybe even embarrassing medical questions out there. And trust me, the answers might just surprise you. All right, let's dive right in. First question, could a woman with a third nipple in theory breastfeed triplets?
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
So the third nipple is also called the supernumerary nipple. And it's a lot more common than one might think. But can you actually use it to breastfeed? And the answer is no, typically not. You might just have a nipple, but you need mammary glands and a place to actually produce the milk. And that usually does not come along with a third nipple. But if you have, say, triplets and you need to breastfeed them, you can. Both breasts functioning can keep up with the supply and demand required to feed 3 kids, just maybe not all at the same time. If stress shrinks the brain, does being calm make it bigger?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
The part of the brain that you really worry about that's shrinking due to stress basically is the hippocampus and the overstimulation with cortisol over a long period of time. So stress, yes, does indeed shrink the brain. But the other part of the question is, being calm, does that actually make your brain bigger? No. But there are other techniques and things that we can do to make our gray matter more dense. So activities that are mindful, like mindful meditation, have been shown to increase the density of your gray matter, which then increasing the density, but you're confined by the physical constraints of your skull. Now, other things that might be brain friendly are things like aerobic exercise. And then there are other things like supplements that you can potentially take as well. So like magnesium, 3 and 8 is good for your brain. Turmeric, all good things for your brain. So this way you continue to have good functioning of your brain. I've heard of a body farm. What is it? Have you ever visited one? For myself, I've actually never visited a body farm, but these facilities are used to study, how a body decomposes over time and in different conditions. And this is usually limited to the law enforcement world, scientists, researchers. Sometimes they have different courses that you might be able to take, but typically the everyday casual stroll into a body farm is not open to the public. Similar to not swimming 30 minutes after eating, can having sex after eating a big meal actually cause serious medical issues? Is the fact that when you eat a significantly large meal, you'd use your blood supply, or a lot of it, to your digestive organs, so that way you can break down the food and then absorb what you need. So when you put in extra demand by going swimming, having sex, going for a run, that blood that's going to your digestive system is then diverted back to your cardiovascular system, so it taxes the whole system and it's not functioning at its optimal capacity. And then if somebody has reflux, you're going to make it potentially worse. Maybe some chest pain, some shortness of breath, extra fatigue. So it's up to you how your body responds.
Yeah, baby!
I know you can live without one kidney, but what about both? Do I really need both kidneys? Yes. The kidneys basically are a type of filtration system in our body to help get toxins out of our body, as well as, balancing our bodies of what we actually need. So could you actually live without your kidneys? Yes, but you would have to have dialysis. You need to be connected to a machine that would perform the tasks that the normal kidneys would. Otherwise, you're going to build up abnormal toxins quite quickly. You will then hold on to fluid because you're not going to be able to get it out of your body, and basically you can drown in your own fluid and then go into cardiac arrest. So at the end of the day, you need at least one kidney to function. Anybody out there have one kidney? Let me know in the comments. Why do some people look like they have no chin? Are they born flat-chinned, or what's the reason? By the way, I am some people.
Hey, that's the guy whose chin looks like a balls.
There are different reasons why you would have an appearance that the chin does not exist. Something called a retrognathia is when maybe the chin is set further back, and it's typically due to genetics. Somebody could also have micrognathia, so where the mandible is smaller in size. Again, genetic, people are born that way. Or as we age, you can have bone breakdown, which then would make the chin smaller as well. So we all have different characteristics of our physical bodies. It doesn't mean it's wrong or off. Times to get it checked out or adjusted or looked at has to do with pain, maybe abnormality of where the teeth are set, or if you're having, concerns about cosmetics, you can actually discuss this with your doctor and see what they think. Why does hair sometimes turn white after extreme stress or trauma? Hair turning white due to extreme stress or trauma doesn't really happen overnight. It usually happens over time, but stress could potentially accelerate the process. But in general, there are other reasons why you might actually get these different colors. So there's one thing called alopecia areata, where you could have patches of hair that's hypopigmented. And there are other diagnoses such as vitiligo, which could also cause patches that are silvery on your scalp if you have it there. But typically, the likelihood of going gray overnight is pretty low, but stress can do many different things to the body that we don't expect. So my grandmother got struck by lightning when she was younger, and she states that it changed her hair color to like a lightish, blondish kind of color. I don't know if I believe her, but that's what she told me, and that's what I grew up knowing. Can varicose veins burst? Absolutely. A varicose vein is where the valves of the vein have failed. Big bulging veins, they hurt. But what happens sometimes is there's so much pressure and they're close to the surface of the skin that they can actually pop open or get a cut, and they just... And treatment for it is basically just direct pressure to that area, hold it for a while, wrap it tight, and it'll stop the bleeding. This is a potential risk that could occur many times. So if anybody has a varicose vein out there, definitely look into a vein therapist, basically, or a vein doctor. Hey doc, I ended up accidentally buying vitamins meant for 50 plus adults. I have been taking them and felt fine so far, but is there any reason that I should stop taking these and buy vitamins meant for people my age? I'm 25, by the way. So really good question, and it ultimately has to do with what's actually in the vitamin. But in general, the supplements that are made for older individuals have the basic same vitamins as all the other vitamin ingredients out there, but maybe lean a little heavier on, say, calcium and B12, and then the supplements for a little bit younger population are a little bit more heavy in iron. But again, look at the labels, maybe compare them. And if there's not a significant difference in them, go for that multivitamin. But if you're looking for something a little bit more targeted, I have even my own supplement line. It's very targeted for things like sleep, calm, as well as, something for a little bit of energy and focus. If you're interested, check out lifehappens.com, formulated by myself. Do some people have bigger lungs, like people who live near water or higher elevation and may need less air? So yeah, there are people out there due to environmental factors and genetics over time that can develop larger lung capacity, as well as being more efficient in processing the air that they are breathing. There are, people that might have large lungs but don't have the ability to use them well because maybe they haven't been trained well, or in altitudes where it would be more beneficial to have a larger lung capacity. So athletes that continue to train over time, they build up a much better capacity to utilize oxygen. So we would say they have better lung capacity. This is a process in our body that actually could be developed over time. Are goosebumps actually useful for anything?
Peter? What's wrong?
Goosebumps. Basically, we as humans aren't really efficient at using it. What happens from like emotional experiences, fear, excitement, cold, and basically we have little small muscles in the hair follicles basically, and it's called piloerection, and it makes your hair stand up, and then the skin gets all tight, and that just has to do with the muscle contraction that you're actually seeing. So is it actually useful for anything? It's giving us more of like a visual trigger that maybe we're excited or cold. So just pay attention to it and use it. Sometimes, it's like your extra sense. If you're in a bad situation and you get goosebumps, maybe you gotta get out of there. What do you guys call it? Goosebumps? Goose pimples? Let me know in the comments. Next one, do blind people see color in their brain, or is it all just dark? So really good question, and really hard to get that answer, because if you were born blind, you've actually never seen color, so the concept of color doesn't actually exist. They may see and experience colors much different than us. And then there are individuals that once could see and then go blind, and they have a different experience. Their memories may be of color, but what they're actually seeing currently would be maybe different shades of colors, lights, flashing, those sorts of things. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Is it true that during a C-section, the doctor sometimes takes organs out to get the baby? Great question. So a C-section or a cesarean section is a surgical procedure to get the baby out of the mother and out of the uterus. And it's basically an incision on the outside, lower abdomen, to then allow the baby to come out, and then everything is sutured closed. But there are times that you might need to move the bladder out of the way or move different organs out of the way, but you're not actually removing them and cutting them out. Sometimes they might be out of the body for a short period of time, but still attached to you. And then when everything is completed, you bring them back into the body. Is there really an STI or STD that causes the nose to fall off?
Where's my nose?
Here it is.
Here's your arm.
So yes, syphilis. Syphilis is a bacterial infection that can cause your nose to fall off. In the tertiary stage, syphilis could cause tumor-like lesions on the nose, causing a saddle nose deformity. We don't see this that often anymore because syphilis is very easily treated with an antibiotic, 2 shots basically. But your first symptom ends up being a painless ulcer. So you have to be kind of aware of what's going on in your body. But pre-antibiotics, you definitely saw this. Have you heard of the telepathy tapes? If so, do you think it's possible that autistic people are more telepathic like it claims? Interesting. So somebody who's autistic, are they able to communicate mind to mind because maybe they have higher senses, and do they have different connections that we don't have as somebody who's not autistic? So this telepathy needs to be studied a lot more, but it's quite interesting that maybe people who are autistic or nonverbal autistic have maybe some other connection that we're not aware of to their body and their minds in a much different way, which then gives them some other type of skill or ability that we haven't understood yet. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the whole telepathic topic. All really good questions. This is Discord questions. Amazing. Thank you so much for sending them in. Please continue to send them in. They are great to have discussions about and even, test my own abilities and thoughts and opinions. So if you enjoyed this, definitely check out this playlist right here. Make sure you binge watch everything. And as always, please make sure you do me a favor, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.